Hey pilots, it's Matt here. I'm going to go over thrust vectoring a little bit, so see if it helps understanding thrust vectoring. A lot of people, it's, for your first time setting up thrust vectoring, it's difficult, just as far as getting your brain wrapped around understanding it. As you can see on this, this is a Su-35 flanker jet, free wing. You have, this is the things will be marked vector 1, vector 2, and then you've got vector 3, okay, and those control your vectoring nozzles. What I did is I made a list, and it does say in the book too in your instruction. I have a different, like a servo tester or whatever, hook each one of those up and find out which one does what. Vector 1 does my, on the right hand side, this way, does my up and down. Vector 2 on the left hand side does my up and down. So now I know that up and down, if I connect those two to one channel, they're going to operate up and down vectors. And I know that channel 3 on my radio is going to control my elevator. And that's the elevator on the airplane, this one. So now what I do, well, let's keep going first. Then vector 3, that was my left and right. That vector 3 controlled those vectors to go left and right, the nozzles. So I know if I hook that in with my rudder, because my rudder on channel number 4, if I wire that just to that vector, it's going to work. Now the one thing I wanted it to do is to be able to be shut off. So essentially, if I use, you see the rudder here, and I Y off for that vector, you can assign a switch to shut them off. So elevator number 3. Now on my radio, let me turn it on here, and again, so we know what the thrust vectors do. Each one. Out of the 3, I know that 1 is up, down, 2 is up, down, 3 is right and left. Okay? So what I've done on my radio here, and everybody's radios, it's essentially the same. The only difference is how you do it, go about doing it, but you're doing the same thing. I go into my menu, and I'm going to choose, if I want to go with my servos. This is the best, like, to look at your grid. Now I can see that 2 and 5 go, are my elevator. So I've assigned channel 2 as my main, and you can see in blue, channel 5, I've assigned that channel to work as an elevator. So if I want my thrust vectoring, I don't use thrust vectoring on elevators, I just don't like it. I like it up and down. So channel 3, all I had to do is Y off here for, I know, 1 and 2. So I went off my channel 3 elevator, and I assigned channel 7 to my switch to work with elevator. So when I turn that on, you can see that, see how 3 and 7 work? So I plug those two from a Y, from 7, which is vector 1, and I hope this is making sense. So you can see vector 1 and vector 2 on the radio here is plugged in with a Y to channel 7 that I can turn on and off with a switch that is assigned, which assigning a channel is real simple too. I mean, essentially you're going into your channel set, okay, on your radio, and you're going to pick your channel 3 to work with channel 7, okay, and as an auxiliary. So essentially now those two channels work, but I can still shut it off. I don't have the airplane plugged in, so it's going to blink, but hopefully that gives you guys kind of an idea. It's fairly simple once you understand it. And obviously rudder for vector 3 here, I assigned channel, this is channel 8. So channel 8, if you go back to, if I go back to my, I could have done it there, but if I go back to servos, channel 8 and channel 4 are my rudders. So, and I can turn it off too, so now that's just, now my rudder just works. So that switch up here I assigned it for my vectoring. So when I want it on, I just flip it on and thrust vector works, and I turn it off when I don't want it. I just want to fly it normally. So that's essentially how you can do thrust vectoring. I know there's 2 or 3 different ways other people do it. I know there's some more complex mixes you can do. But essentially, just to revamp, you're going into your channel set, and your channel, I've got channel 1 as throttle, channel 2 is aileron, channel 3 is elevator, channel 4 rudder, and then 5 is generally you can do it as flaps or landing gear, usually landing gear, and then 6 is flaps if you have flaps on a thing, so you can set them to your switch. I just hit the button and pick a switch, and that assigns it for me with this radio. And then so for auxiliary, number 2 is switch 7, which is that one back, which is that back switch there, which controls my thrust vectoring. So 2 and 7, if I want to switch on that thrust vector up and down, it goes to channel 7, where I have that Y connector in for vector 1 and 2. So channel 7 has both vectors plugged into it here. As you can see, they're marked, vector 1 and vector 2. They're plugged in, so they go up and down. So channel 2 and channel 7 go up and down, and that's just from my radio. So hopefully you kind of get an understanding on it. Spectrum radio, same way. I mean, you're essentially just going to assign your auxiliary channel along with your elevator channel, plug those 2 in with a Y harness, and that will make them go up and down. I have to adjust mine, that's why I'm not plugging it in, but here, let me plug it in. You see all my junk here. You can hear those servo humming is perfectly normal on new jets. See, the rudder is off with that. I flip my switch. Now I have thrust vector. Okay, up and down is working. I have to adjust the nozzles, they're not all straight yet, but I can turn the switch off here. So my radio, I flip my switch off. Now just my elevators work. So ailerons, see, I don't set up ailerons, I don't like ailerons, but same concept, you know what I mean. You're just going to choose a secondary Y for your, I believe it's vector 2, and you have to do a mix. I think it's with 3 of them. I haven't done it yet, but same concept, a little bit more tricky. But anyway, I don't like aileron because aileron thrust vectoring, you know what it does, it just spins it like a drill, and it already does well enough with the ailerons, so you don't need it. Alright, well, hopefully this helps somebody. And this is Matt with RC jets and World War II airplanes. Got airplanes all over. So anyway, we will catch you later. Bye-bye.